So it's my pleasure and honor then to introduce our first speakers of the morning. We've got Davin with us, Amy, and Heather. Let's do a mic check. Davin, Heather, Amy.
Can you hear me, Ray?
We got you, Davin. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Heather's ready to go.
All right, and Amy.
Amy's ready.
My understanding is Amy's going to start us out. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm going to start you out with an introduction. Just let me know when you're ready.
All set. Fire away.
All right, so what we're going to talk about today is how here in West Virginia, like across the United States, we had to jump quickly into alternative learning styles with our outreach programs, our communications programs. So what do alternative styles look like? And Ray, if you want to jump to the second slide.
Can do.
It's a lot of ideas and creativity, finding a way to keep your audience engaged, to reach them. It's forever changing. Right now, people are experiencing burnout and seasonal changes. So whatever change there is, you have to be prepared to modify your programming accordingly. There's a lot of frustrations. People are finding it difficult to keep focused because our communities are battling economic, social, and educational fatigue completely across the United States. So here in West Virginia, we took a few steps to help teachers out. And from there, if we can turn the next slide, I'll hand it over to Heather.
All right, very good.
All right, so I know personally, if we take a look at this first block here where it says it's okay to take a break, I definitely felt the burnout. I'm a parent, you know, trying to work full-time, trying to farm full-time. And then my oldest, who was in kindergarten, went virtual. So trying to do that first time at well. So I realized that I needed to switch my work focus to make it fun for me and my family too. So I decided to do a couple just short activities in a video format that the whole family could do together. So it helped everyone's stress level just in my household. And it gave my own children a sense of importance because they knew that, you know, I was videoing them and they were helping their mom with work. And my oldest still records everything now. So everything is like a documentary to her. So hopefully she'll wind up being a teacher. But all the recordings were uploaded to Facebook and YouTube. And both of those formats are free, which is the best thing about them. At the end of the school year, I also wound up doing some Zoom calls with more like the technology savvy teachers. This year, I'm starting to begin work with the less technology savvy teachers and trying to get Zoom lessons set up with them. And then I have been switching my focuses throughout the summer. And now that we're into fall, working on, you know, seasonal material. And so basically, I was trying to relate to the parents to just get outside. It's a prime time for conservationists to be able to tell people, you know, to get outside, go for a walk, learn about your surroundings, and just literally stop and smell the roses. So it helped ease my own struggle in balancing everything. And I think we also helped just from parents and teachers that I talked to, helping them out as well. So I'm going to switch it over to Amy.
I forgot to unmute myself. One of the things that's important for all of us across the United States is keeping track of those numbers for the feedback for our funding. So keeping in mind that a lot of these social networking platforms have free analytics that you can use to report your numbers back. You just have to dig into those analytics on the pages. So always use a business page. Don't use group pages. Don't use personal pages. Use business pages so that you can have those analytics, because reporting back shows what you've done, what your measurable outcome is. And of course, you have to follow the guidelines. So I'm going to turn that over to Davin.
Yeah, as an agency, we're making sure that we are on top of what the guidelines are in our dealings with the public and when we deal with ourselves in an office setting in the agency. Of course, most people are teleworking now, but we do still have inter-office interactions. And you all might have heard about our governor strongly encouraging people to follow the guidelines. If you haven't, I'll let you YouTube that. But now I'll pass it back off to Amy or Heather.
That's going to be me, and we're ready to switch the slide, Ray.
All right.
So how do we engage our community? Earlier this spring, we discussed how we use the Spring Seed Program for drawing in the community, keeping them busy across the United States. The Victory Gardens came back. A lot of people started gardening for the first time. So that was a really great way for us to reach out, grab our community, and bring them back. We used, of course, a lot of social media, and we included our community members in our outreach. We asked them to give us feedback on how they were doing. We asked them to send us photos, pictures, videos, things like that. Heather did read aloud to students and with students, and I tried it out too, but as you can see by the picture on the slide, mine was not near as cute as hers with 3 little cute girls. I basically have farm animals because my kids are grown. And I tried read aloud, it didn't work. I tried giving parents a break, but I gave a lot of people laughs. Secondly, what was really important for us is connect the dots. West Virginia, if you've ever been here, you'll know that it's a very challenging state geographically. Everything is a mountain mile, so it's not like we can just meet up easily. And even with connectivity is not that easy because of the broadband issues that we have. So we had to connect the dots. We had to work together with the outreach folks across the state, and there's not that many of us. So we really all worked together, which gave me and Heather an opportunity to work together more than we ever had in the past. And I think that it worked out really well. So with that note, I'm going to turn it back over to Heather.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree with Amy's last point that we've definitely worked together more, which has been great, which has in turn been fantastic for the outreach program, for the conservation agency, and also the local districts. So with my programming for 2020 and into the 2021 for the school year, of course, my focus was using materials that could be found in the home or immediately close to the vicinity of the home, because obviously, you know, people aren't supposed to be going out, and also to those that have financial limitations that can't go out and buy certain school supplies or craft supplies. So it allowed for every lesson to include a recycling and upcycling component. Which is of course important for, you know, states like West Virginia. And some of the videos I did in a more promo way because it allowed me to kind of showcase what we offer. So especially like with my Enviroscape videos, I did one for the elementary level and one for the middle and high school level to kind of go over what would be focused on at each grade level if it was going to be in the classroom. And again, you know, everything changed with the seasons and also with the projected content standard objectives or CSOs for the classroom that the teachers were going to be focusing on. Right now, I'm getting back into video making for fall materials. So of course, leaves are abundant right now and things like that. And then for the schools, again, we're beginning our Zoom meetings. You know, and it seems at least for now that, well, let me get my timer going. That, you know, we're going to be in the classrooms for a bit. So I feel comfortable working with the teachers on the Zooms and then getting materials to those classes. And then I'm also had some grant funding. So I'm creating some backpack lesson plans that's focused on just one content standard. They're going to be available for grades kindergarten through 3. So I'm looking forward to getting that into the school system. And then we've also got a couple of community outreach programs such as like starting seeds and egg cartons. And again, including that recycling, upcycling component. So I'm going to turn it back over.
Okay, so for my educational programming going into 20 and 21, I'm working on a new soil trailer that's actually in the process of construction and design. I'm also going to be working on more content standards. So I'm actually writing standards for high school students. And I'm taking a little bit of a different approach with it this time. Rather than doing conservation-based standards, I'm doing a community involvement standard, which is going to be segueing high school students into an outreach career, which is something that I think is very important. It was something that I wish I had had in high school. So I'll also be working with students and parents, of course, as always, and continuing my plan of work. And with that, I will turn it back over to Davin to discuss our new video series.
Hey, so an example of a video that we are working on and one that we've already completed, I would direct you to our website. You can either Google that, West Virginia Conservation Agency, or it's www.wvca.us. And if you go down to news and events on that page, you'll find a video that we did, which is one of our spotlight videos. And the farmer that we worked with there, some people might call him a gardener, but you could also argue that he's a farmer with what he's doing. His name is David Wanger, kind of rhymes with ranger. And he's not a traditional cooperator, but he's a self-described hillside gardener. And what he's doing is he's utilizing composting, cover crop, and terracing in his backyard garden. And what he's doing there, it's really interesting. Amy and I went and interviewed him and did a video. The video that you'll see is he's creating a self-sufficient and sustainable ecosystem in his yard. And just a really interesting, non-traditional type cooperator. But everything that he's doing, he has got conservation in mind, and he's got conservation practices in mind, which is great. So another example of an educational video that the three of us might work on, Amy, for instance, would compile the materials for, say, a bee nesting box. Then Amy would share the lesson plan and the design for that box with Heather. And luckily for us, Heather's an old pro at educational videos. And what we would do then is send Heather the materials to build a bee nesting box. And then she would build that box and shoot the video. And then I might come in and help edit the video. But again, Heather's an old pro, so she might not need my help with that. But that's just an example of some videos that we have worked on and will be working on. And with that, I'll hand it back to Amy.
So before Amy goes, Davin, wouldn't it be fun if we I've got it up on the screen, direct me to where I would go. I went to your West Virginia, wvca.us, yada, 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 up there at the top. Take us to one of those videos.
Yeah, if you could remove the scc.cfm.
Yeah, okay, gonna do that. And bounce back, bop, 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 bop. All right, and return, go ahead.
Okay, now scroll down.
Yep.
Until you get to news and events.
News and events, okay.
Yeah, keep scrolling, yep.
Rolling, here we are, news and events, yeah.
And then that very first one, urban agriculture spotlight.
Hey, isn't that cool? And then you got the watershed focus in your dams too, excellent. Don't miss this, folks. Everybody's got their pen, pencil out, something to write on. They are writing down this stuff. They're going to be calling you. I'm almost convinced. Okay, back to the show. Just had to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Ray, I'm thinking we may be getting close to our time being up. So I can skip over the trail learning sites if necessary.
Oh, no. Do them.
Okay.
We have 4 presentations today. We're in good shape.
Okay, great. So with our trail learning sites, this is something new that once again, it's something that you'll find throughout the United States, but we're doing it just a little bit differently. We're adding a little bit of technology in with our nature. So one thing that we have that's absolutely amazing here in West Virginia is we have a lot of walking, running, riding trails. So we're going to take advantage of that because so many of our schools are still doing virtual, or they may be doing, homeschooling, things like that. Just everything changed, and we're trying to adapt to help families and teachers get education out there in natural resources. So we decided to take a new route, literally, and use walking trails as educational sites. We're putting small classroom type learning sites on these walking trails that may have benches. It'll have vegetation that's used in conservation planning, of course. We're a very mountainous region, so we're going to have all of our erosion control, things like that. So they'll just be these sites that are, some of them may be 20 by 20, some may be, 10,000 square feet or more. They just vary, but somewhere where families can go, they can do hands-on based learning projects, they can do their homework. A lot of them do have cell phone service. So along the way, we'll have posts that will have QR codes where, with a teenager or a kid of any sort, if they go past the QR code, they're going to use their smartphone to scan it and see what it's about. So we'll have, instead of a lot of big signs that can be vandalized, we'll have these QR codes that people can look at. And if we're in an area where there is no cell service, then we'll put the signage up. But having the QR codes is kind of a magical thing because, number one, you can change that with the season. So we're not going to have flowers, so we're not going to have pollinator flowers all year round. But after that, we may have something else throughout the winter that we can change that landing page. And so the landing pages can be moved around to fit whatever the season is. And so if I'm walking through a trail and I come up on the pollinator flowers, I can scan the QR code. It's going to take me to pollinator flowers. I can scan the next QR code and it may take me to a monarch, butterfly landing page and so on. So we're adding things such as the benches, natural playing sites. So when people have to cut down trees, things like that, we'll make little tables, chairs for the little ones. We'll have, I think I mentioned pollinator gardens, butterfly boxes, solitary bee boxes, plantings of all sorts, trees. We're going to be doing erosion control in our creeks and streams with small bridges. And even along the walking paths, we're putting water breaks in so that those water breaks will come through those small bridges. And these water breaks are just made with 2x6s, 3 2x6s that are about 5 feet long. So those water breaks, are breaking up the erosion issues that we have on our walking trails. I've not been out on them this month because it's baby snake season. So I'm staying off of them for right now, but I'm real excited to see what we come up with for this spring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to turn that back over to Heather.
All right, so first I want to thank Amy for inviting me to be able to talk with everybody. I'm really excited to be able to share what I've been doing. And again, on behalf of the conservation districts in West Virginia and the West Virginia Conservation Agency, we want to thank everybody for listening to us. We're always open to questions. And of course, we also want to extend our thanks to all of the essential employees that have been through this and are continuing to go through everything. And again, if there's any questions, I'm sure we'd be happy to answer them. I'm not sure if we have any time left for now. And of course, there's our contact information if anybody has questions directed towards any one of us.